Is there an indicator that we're recording? Okay, pause, stop recording, disable notation, high floating control. Yeah, I think we're ready to start. I think it's just a big thumbs up. Awesome. I'm gonna actually leave this minimized over here. Hello, welcome. Minimized over here. I'll try to manage the space as efficient as possible. But yeah. So please take your attendance. Welcome to Software Engineering Club, GitHub and OpenAI Quickstart workshop. And then before we get to the meat of the meeting, we actually have some other cool announcements. So everyone got the QR code. So this Saturday, we actually have a DevOps conference right here at OSU. Alex, where is the location?
Labs. It'll be the following, like the 113 big classroom.
Yep, and students are free to attend. So it is not merely a club event. It is actual people from the industry. Some of them are my mentors who are currently senior architects, senior engineers, coming to present, to talk, to network. It will be the golden opportunity for you to find your mentors as well. Make sure when you go and register RSVP on Eventbrite, all the details are in the link and the QR code. Make sure you use your OSU student email to register for the account and get a ticket. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to seeing you guys out there. I'll be there. And then we also have Alex, do you want to make a quick announcement while I close the door?
Of course.
Microphone is right here.
Cool. So we have an ongoing call for officers. We are looking for a lot of roles in the club, including president, vice president, treasurer. The election date, it was previously scheduled for today, but we have moved it because not a lot of people applied. So the top roles will be elected, and officers and designers will be selected on a rolling basis by existing team members. If you scan the QR code, it goes to Google form with detailed description of every role and what's expected from you and what you can get from it. Yes, and these software engineers will be selected from existing participants in our projects, specifically event feed. Do you have any questions about this? Cool. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions at any point. I'm also available in Discord. Thank you.
Alex, because the chat is a big window, would you mind monitoring the questions for me? So at any point, folks that are joining in online, if you have any questions, it'll take like a second or two for I'll be notified. Yeah, I definitely see you. I definitely hear you. Happy to answer anything as it comes up. All right. Awesome. So this is what we are all here for today. So again, welcome everyone, both via Zoom as well as everyone here. My name is Keming. I'm a member of the Software Engineering Club at Ohio State University. And today I'll be giving a workshop. You're free to code along, or you can kind of just like watch to see how the standard workflow plays out. It's going to be GitHub, OpenAI. I'm going to do a project quick start, and this will be perfect if you are planning to compete in HackOHI 2024, given that nowadays with the prevalence of open source, we don't need to write everything from scratch again. And these template projects are totally fair game as long as you meaningfully extend upon it. All right, so you might see that we have 3 icons here. So the orange one is Git, that is the version control system. Middle one is GitHub. And then we have, everyone is familiar with the OpenAI logo. So let's get to the agenda. All right, so you can't really talk too much about GitHub without mentioning Git. So first things first today, we're going to do a really quick Git CLI review. How to clone stuff, how to branch stuff, and what does commit look like. If you're still very new to those terms, that's okay. So instead of giving a full-on lecture, we already have a Git cheat sheet shared in the Discord announcement. And then today it's super practical. We're going to be applying all of these concepts real time in real projects. So we have that association with how do I actually work with these, instead of I know this, but a week, 2 weeks passed, I'm never going to use it. It's going to go stale. And so we're also going to dive into using GitHub. That is the meat of this workshop. GitHub is a wonderful platform. I'll talk more later. And then finally, after getting to after knowing and reaching proficiency in these Git and GitHub skills, we're going to apply that to setting up a OpenAI chat app via the official OpenAI template. And maybe there are ways for us to use it in HackOHI. I don't know. All right. So some background. This slide, let's see. I should probably do like an animation, but why is Git important? It's a version control system. So Git and GitHub are actually different things. We're going to start with Git. Git is a version control system. It is far superior than copying and sharing entire project files via Google Drive or Discord or just texting people source code. It is required nowadays by most positions. So if you're going to go and apply, the application might say, we want someone that knows Python, knows JavaScript, knows React, knows this and that. But the underlying is, in order to work effectively in a team, you need to have mastery or at least proficiency of version control. It just happened to be the most popular one. It really clears up like each and every member's individual contributions, and it gives the whole team the ability to roll back to any given commits. We'll talk about what commits are in a second. So it's like you have a time machine, and not just your own timeline, but everybody's alternate universe traversing it via Git. GitHub is the platform built on top of Git. So Git is just the single version control system. GitHub has said, okay, this version control system is really cool. What if we have a platform where everyone that uses this version control system can also host their code on this platform? And some of the code is open source, meaning it's public. It might be even commercial grade, meaning it's super high quality code that you can just grab, and depending on the license, most of the license that we're going to cover are MIT, which is feel free to modify, sell, do whatever you want with it. And so the GitHub platform like really brings out the collaboration aspect of Git. And then, oh, look at that. On GitHub, you can find free valuable resources, like a lot of the apps that we're going to look at today, practical examples. So any questions so far? Any questions in chat? Awesome. Next slide is it's just a little scary. But I'm gonna make it less scary. So Git is a command line interface. It is designed by developers, for developers. A little bit taunting if this is your first time doing programming the task in general completely via the command line, kind of giving that hackerman vibe. But as you can see here, I've grayed out of all these commands. Not only did I added the comments on what they generally do. Also, today we are mostly going to be focusing on the Quickstart workflow, and I can immediately tell you that most of them, like you're going to be using them multiple times, even in a single coding session, that it just becomes second nature to you. Again, all of these are available in our Discord announcement. Not going to go through them one by one because I really want to show you, or you can also follow along in real-time practice. So, and then we have a second page that has even more stuff. Again, don't worry about them right now. These are here for your reference in the future. And let's get to the fun part. Is there any chance there will be a Zoom meeting for the DevOps event? Alex, I think you can answer that.
Oh. What is?
And then if anyone's curious on where to find the aforementioned cheat sheet in the Discord, it is in our Discord bulletin board announcement. And then if you scroll a little bit up, these are the 2 slides. All right. Cool. So let's actually go to awesome. Cool. By the way, speaking of fonts, everyone able to read this? We're good? We're good on the font? Okay, cool. So the structure of what's going to happen is we're going to look at 2 repositories. And then these 2 repositories are both open source, meaning the code is out there, free to grab, free to modify. And well, I just happen to be contributing to one of these. Through forking these repositories, cloning them to your local device, setting up your development environment, getting them to run would really show you how Git, GitHub, and kind of the modern development workflow is carried out. So the first repository I'm gonna kind of be showing you to set up your own version is called Socialify. what this does is it's a web app, and you can actually enter a GitHub repository. In this case, I'm going to enter the Software Engineering Club. We actually have our own API. So I'm going to enter that repository, and then it generates a very, very nice looking social media preview. So what a social media preview is if you say copy the link to our repository into say Discord or LinkedIn or even text messaging nowadays, there will be an image associated with the link. So this is super helpful, as evident by all the stars it's receiving. And then, you know, it'll be really, really cool for us to see and be able to kind of experiment with the setup. Once we are logged in into our GitHub account, we can fork the repository. So it literally says fork. This will create a copy with the reference. So it's not just, you know, copy and paste, is we are forking, in this case, to the VOSU, only the main branch. It's called master in the past with a description. And you can see now instead of the author / Socialify, it is dvosu / Socialify. So if you go to our organization, we now have a copy that reference to the original repository. So this is called a fork. All right, so we done the fork, no command line required. And now let's actually get this thing down on our own machine and set up the dev environment. So a lot of times, the README, if you scroll all the way down, oh, look, they're using their own social preview. The README tells you how to set everything up. So in this case, it is in the development section. Because these are, you know, really, really per project or repository basis, it really trains your ability to adapt to different writing, to kind of fill in the blanks if there's something that is not explicitly written. Here, I chose this repository, this project, because it has really, really good documentation. Hence, I was like contributing to it. So it looks like the first step, you know, even before we clone it, we're going to create a GitHub token. Why do we need it? Well, it's probably very important. We'll get to all of the nuances later, especially if you come and ask me after the meeting. GitHub and OpenAI. All right, awesome. So here's a just strictly following the instructions. So settings, developer setting, personal assets token. Okay, let's do that. So we can do settings, scroll all the way down, developer settings, and not app, not OAuth app, but personal access tokens. We're going to use a classic token for this one. Then we're going to generate a new token. And let's see what the requirement was. We got to the token part. So it says, I will need the repo scope. Sometimes it's using a word that we don't yet understand because we're new to generating tokens. But hey, we see scope here, and I'm just gonna click on everything repo-wise. I didn't mention anything else. That's fine. And then let's add a note. Expiration date, let's say 7. You guys are gonna be seeing the token. It's gonna be recorded, but the token, like my token, is gonna be, I'm gonna delete it right afterwards. Best security practices. So this is the GitHub workshop token. All right, let's generate our token. We have our token ready. What's our next step? It says run the following command to set up the development server. Cool. So here we see our first Git command is git clone. Cloning means when you have something on, in this case, on GitHub, and you have a URL starting with the HTTPS, you are able to use git clone to essentially download what's on GitHub onto your own local machine. So let's actually do that. Git clone. DVOS, GitHub, DVOSU, and Socialify. And remember, Git repositories, especially when they're hosted online, has the .git ending. So let's see. In my case, I have SSH set up. If you don't see this, that's totally fine. There we go. And then for those that are new to command line, if you do ls and -a, that prints everything in your current directory. We can see that we have the Socialify folder or directory successfully kind of downloaded onto our own machine. So let's enter the directory, see what's going on. All right, so my editor recognized we have Git set up for Socialify. And then we are actually going to come back. Okay, so we did a git clone. We got into the directory. Next step, it says set environment variables in .env. So it has one command. For those that are new to the command line, CP just means copy. So we're creating a copy of this thing and into that. We're going to explain a little bit what this does, but let's get right into strictly following the instructions right now. So .env.example.env. All right. Been using command line for a while. Really want to have like a visual kind of indicator of what's going on. So if you're using Visual Studio Code or any IDE, this is the perfect opportunity to open the folder that we just cloned down to our device and did some really basic setup. We're not done yet. In my case, it's project Socialify. And then I'm going to make this bigger. There we go. Is the text okay? Cool. So we see a bunch of files. We see the .env.example. It'd be really nice to take a look at it, what it does. Okay, so it needs a GitHub token. That's very convenient. We just created one. And then the .env that we set up is actually the one that's that we're gonna be plugging in a token for. So if you have a sharp eye, you'll see the .env is grayed out. So when something is grayed out, it means it's not going to be tracked and committed and pushed up to the GitHub repository. This is a very good security security practice, meaning you don't want to share your personal GitHub token with someone else. It means they could just use your token to do everything that you are able to do on your own machine. So we take our token. Again, right until this point, we're not coding anything. We're just strictly following instructions. Token's right here. We're going to copy the token. All right, let's get back and see what's next. And we have a series of commands. So it's yarn install yarn build and yarn dev. What is yarn? Well, what is yarn? Ooh, not that kind of yarn. Computer science. Okay, there's a lot of yarn, but I'm gonna for the sake of this. So um um to help everyone here fill in the gaps, because this particular project is written, it's a Node.js project, meaning that it uses everything in the Node.js kind of ecosystem. And in Node, you have the Node package manager. Sometimes we call it NPM. In this case, it uses a different package manager, just called Yarn. There's also a bunch of others, but again, the authors here, and maybe we can contribute and add an issue here saying that, hey, some people might not know what Yarn is, in the comment. And so we are just going to install Yarn. So let's make sure we have Node set up properly. So npm version, okay, Node version. Yeah. All right, we have Node installed and npm install. Okay. And let's see, do we have Yarn? Okay, we don't have Yarn. That's fine. Yes, perfectly aware. Let's install Yarn. All right, now do we have Yarn? Hey, we have Yarn, cool. So all I did is use the Node package manager to install Yarn globally. So this is kind of the gap that it's helpful to fill in. And again, if you run into similar issues, it's also, the author is out there, perfectly, especially Wei. It's a very friendly person. Feel free to reach out to him. And then let's come back. So now we know what Yarn is. We have Yarn installed. We have Yarn available to us. Let's see. So Yarn installed. Cool. That's clear to Cutter. So we're in the Socialify folder. Just going to confirm that. Perfect. Yarn install. Second time's the charm. Internet connections. Let's see. We'll be on backup. I think. All right. So we did Yarn install. I think the next two is Yarn build and Yarn dev, strictly following their setup instructions. And as you're like building these kind of going through these commands, waiting for things to happen, you can also just kind of breathing the context. I will say, hey, this has Daisy UI in it. What is Daisy UI? Maybe I'll Google it later. Could be a really interesting new dev tool that I pick up. Then Yarn dev. All right, so this should have the development server set up. So let's go to localhost 3000 in our browser. And look at that. This looks exactly, and that's not what I wanted to do. What? This looks, no, I'm back there. So this looks exactly like the official, live version. Let's further make sure the behavior is exactly the same. So do dvosu, or you can type your own repository, dv API. And this is the real version. This is the one that's on the internet, everyone can access. So just like that, we got a professional grade, a someone else's repository, successfully forked, cloned, and we went through all the setup process, get it working on our own machine, and we are ready to kind of dive in, make modifications, learn something new, do experimentation with it, and it is as simple as that. Again, in the middle, there are some gaps you need to fill. So maybe what I can do is I will do, I'll find a README. Hey, maybe this part. Oh, before I do that, best practice. So currently, I'm going to stop the server first. Currently, if you can see, my ID tells me it's master. What is master? So git status. It says we are on the master branch. When you're working in a team environment, and on a project, you don't want to touch the master, the code that's already working, that is already kind of good when you're experimenting with something new. So applying what we learned, what we saw earlier with the Git CLI, let's create a branch. So Git switch -C is just for create a new branch. So this branch could be, improve README. All right, let's do git status again. So we are on branch improve README. And if we remember from earlier, it's best to, before you make any actual changes, once you create a new branch, git push origin new branch. So this push the new branch to the original repository on GitHub, basically telling all of your fellow teammates, hey, I'm working on a new feature. I got a new branch going. I'm gonna add stuff there. I'm gonna add stuff to it and updated it soon. But just kind of giving you a heads up. Just good standard practice. And so I'm going to clean everything up a little bit. Git push origin and the branch. So let's improve README. All right. So now if we go to, not that, the repository, and then we refresh, look at that. We now have two branches. One of them is master, and the other one I just created. It's called improve README. Obviously, there's no changes because I hadn't made anyone. But if I'm collaborating with someone else and they see, okay, Keming is already working on the README. It's making some improvements. I'm going to do something else, or I can, come and ask Keming, do you need help? And so let's make some modifications to the README. Said yarn is a Node.js is another node package manager, like or similar to npm. If you don't have yarn installed, install it with npm global install. Yeah. Cool. Then so we save. Looks good. So the hashtag or pound is just comments. So we're not really changing any behavior. We're just adding more context. And then let's do git add dash all. So telling Git, I have some new changes, track them. And then git commit. So you can also see here, it runs a bunch of automated tests. So this is something that you can also learn, hey, how did they do that? This is like really, really, oh, need to install following packages? Sure. All right, so looks like I'm also like using their specific tooling for making commits. So I'm gonna say this is probably documentation. Commit title, added context about yarn. Empty message reports to commit. Just simple doc improvement. Okay. All right. And then, so as of right now, this commit is only local. If we go back to, so we made a commit, but the remote branch, the branch that's on GitHub, we can see, it's still the same as main. So what we're gonna do is the last step.
Hey, what's the difference between add and commit?
Add and commit. So git add is telling Git that I have some files changed. Could you start looking after them, start keeping track of them. Commit is telling Git, hey, all of the files that you are keeping track of are changing right now. We are going to kind of group them all together, and then said all of these are the changes that were kind of having a grouping them and then formalizing. This is like the point of change of all of these files, and put it in our history. So once we made the commit locally, we're going to push the branch, or just git push. Simple. It was a success. And then let's see. I'm going to refresh. Look at that. If we go to the branch, first of all, it's going to tell us, hey, congratulations. And we go down to the README. Look at that. We had just added the context. Yarn is another node package manager, similar to npm. If you don't have yarn installed, install with this command, which is what we did. Really helpful to filling the gaps for new developers. And we can see this is the improved README branch instead of the master branch. If we go back to the master branch, because we haven't created a pull request yet, it's still the same. So let's actually learn about creating pull requests. So pull request, it is a much more preferred and informal way on GitHub, exclusively on GitHub, to merge the changes that you made back into the main code. So it's really simple. I'm gonna go to pull request, new pull request, and then say base repository. In this case, it's going to be our repository. And then we are going to, so the purpose of a pull request is to merge the code that we write back to our own repository. So create pull request. It's going to run some tests. You can add reviewers. I'm going to assign myself. This is purely documentation. A bunch of stuff that you can customize. We're going to create a pull request. Looks like we're good. So you can also add a bunch of new automations to it, infinitely expandable. We'll get into those maybe in a more advanced workshop. But today, let's merge pull request, confirm merge. And I'm going to leave this here for now. We can see that, first of all, it's going to kind of show the message. And so we are on the master branch right now. And look at that. Our comment is here. So really, really simple, really streamlined workflow. And yes, Alex.
What happens if two people on different branches open a pull request at the same time to master branch?
So pull request is, instead of a full process, it's more of a point. You're actually able to open multiple pull requests. Wait, do you say from the same branch?
So different people are working on the same code base in different branches. They make individual changes to the code. Then they want to merge those changes.
To main or to each other?
Main. They all want to merge their edits to the main branch.
We'll get into those more advanced topics in a later workshop. But in the meanwhile, if you're curious as to how that works, feel free to try it out yourself. And if you have any questions, feel free to come back, and I'll happily help you resolve it. So, yes. All right. So we are getting more and more familiarized with the whole forking, cloning, setup, local dev environment workflow. Let's actually apply that to something that can be really valuable for the upcoming hackathon or just your daily life. So next repository we're going to look at is the OpenAI repository. So it's OpenAI, Quickstart, Node. I'm actually going to copy and paste this into our Discord text channel. Oh, look at that. That's the social preview. Anyways, this is the official template code by OpenAI to let you set up your own kind of an AI chat at an instant. So if we remember what we learned so far, first, we're gonna fork a version to our own repository, to our own account. So in this case, I'm gonna do the VOSU. I'm not gonna change the name, copy master branch only. It's doing its thing. And then you can see, instead of OpenAI, now we actually own it. So exact same step. And then let's grab the URL. Go back to our products directory, and then let's clone it. In this case, I'm going to type it out. Awesome. All right, let's look at the setup instructions for this one. So, it actually has a much better setup than Socialify. By comparison, both are pretty good. Said, if you don't have Node installed, install it rather than Node 16. Okay. Clone the repository, we just did that. Navigate into the product directory and install the requirements. So now we see our familiar friend, Node package manager, npm. I'm going to do npm install. Awesome. So OpenAI Quickstart node, and then let's do npm install. So if you see, some scary warnings, don't worry, because we're still in the let's get everything set up first. Later on, when we confirm everything is working as intended, we can then, really investigate what's going on. So the next step, let's see. Look at that. It also requires a env. So it even has, nicer documentation. It was considered of, if you're on a Linux system versus a Windows system. So we're going to do this and then add your API key to the newly created .env file. So it's a different key. This time it actually gives us a link. We click on it, takes us to the platform.openai.com API key. So it's really convenient. We don't need to navigate the GitHub settings this time. It just takes us right there. And we're going to generate a new key. Again, if you don't have an OpenAI account, this may ask you to log in first. And obviously using OpenAI, the third-party service might require a tiny bit of charge. But for demonstration today, if you are not able to follow along immediately, that is totally fine. Gonna go just really quick through everything that you are able to do. And then if you're interested in into learning more, I'm always there for questions in Discord. So we're gonna generate a new key. Name is optional. Give it all the permissions, just for demonstration purposes. And then we're gonna copy the key. So in our VS Code, we're gonna open up a different file. Close the current folder. Then we're gonna open our second one, OpenAI Quickstart node. Awesome. We forgot to do this thing. .env-info.env. Cool. Similarly, we see our grayed out.env. It's not going to be pushed onto the GitHub repository. This is good. And look at that. Just the place to plug in our key. So plug a key in, and then it says, what does it say? Nope, not that one. Done with that. npm run dev. Perfect. So up to this point, still following exactly the instructions it's giving us. We're not doing any deviation. We're just learning to really practice the entire workflow. And we're able to see it's live at localhost 3000 again. Hint, because these are of the same front-end framework, it's called Next.js. Our research mentorship program is actually built upon Next.js. Happy to talk more about it if you come to me afterwards on Discord. But let's go to localhost 3000. We have the official OpenAI template chat room here. So let's confirm it works. Where am I? Oh, all right. So it's streaming responses. It seems to be working. However, since if we look at the history of the repository, saying that, hey, the last update is 6 months ago. So OpenAI has rolled out a bunch of new models. During those times, might be a good idea to give it some upgrade. So this is kind of the, after I get everything set up, I kind of start exploring the code. I can experimenting with all the features that I already have. So let's switch to, as best practice, let's switch to a new branch. -c, and this is just exploration. Also, as best practice, we're going to push the branch. Exploration. All right. Now we're ready to do some experimenting. So just really, really simple. Hello, welcome. Again, this is something through reading the documentation that I found out. So if you go through the file system, there's an index.js. So this one is particularly, simple. They only have 2 files. Other files are, CSS files or stylings, how the website look, index.js, and the actual generator. So this is kind of where the OpenAI API is called. We can see that it's a 3.5 turbo model. What's the latest model again? Let's see. Let's give it a GPT-4 model. So introduction, API reference, or docs. Cool. GPT-4o. So this is a piece of code that looks extremely similar to what we have. Because remember, let's see. Tell me about OSU football. This is the 3.5 turbo model. And then we're simply just going to give it a model upgrade. And come back. Look at that, the difference. But kind of on top of that, maybe we don't want a lot of words, because a lot of words meaning, the API call is getting expensive and we're using the latest model, although it's giving us better responses. Tons of different ways to customize. Hello, we're almost done. Yeah. Again, you'll just have to go through the official documentation on the official site and customize this project and really explore however you want. If you have a teammate if you have someone that you're already teaming up and want to incorporate something like this into your HackOHI project, it's even better when you have 2 people doing the exploration, because everyone's gonna find something new, and yeah, it's pretty cool. That concludes the workshop. The slide's gonna be shared. The recording is gonna be up on our YouTube channel very soon. And thank you so much for coming, and we'll talk in the hallway for any questions. I do not know how to get the recording back.
Did you call before?
Yes,
You'll get an email.
I do not know how to end the recording.
Oh, it's automatically announced when you're in the meeting. Double click the chip saying you're talking. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Double check what?
Press Alt, the keyboard. Yes.
There it is. All right. Stop share. Mute audio, and we are good. Thank you so much for everyone who joined online. We'll see you guys all soon.